And so I'm thrilled to welcome to the stage for this discussion Christian Raveaux, Manant Maheshwari, and Alexis Marcombe. Welcome. And to help me moderate this panel, welcome again, Annia Champsaur. So here is the distribution of the mics. You all have one. And talking about real-time optimization, I want to tell you one story, because this gentleman here, named Alexis, just 30 minutes ago was in Massy, and that's why I apologize. I was WhatsApping with him, and he made it. You made it. Thank you, the motto.
Thank you. Thank you, the motto.
You didn't take any risk?
No, never.
Oh, you're here. This is fantastic. Thank you so much. That's real-time optimization. So, Alexis, why don't we start with you? You did everything now, so it will start easy now. So you started as an expert in media houses and groups, and this has translated into great retail media expertise because you were managing director of Carrefour Links. You're now CEO of Unlimitail and a motorbike expert. Welcome.
Thank you.
Christian, we come to you. You are the Director of Retail Media Connect at REWE, based in Germany, and an early leader in the evolution of retail media, leading the expansion of REWE's retail media portfolio. Willkommen.
Thank you.
And last but certainly not least, Manant. Welcome, Manant. You are the Retail Media Director for Europe at COTY, where you lead retail media, obviously, execution across all European retailers. I should add that you've been speaking with us several times. You can tell the growth of the Data Collab Summit. Welcome, Manant.
Thank you very much. Very happy to be here, and definitely very impressed also by to see the scale that this has grown to. So congratulations, and thank you for having me back.
Thank you. We're glad to have you. So we'll start right with you. Could you tell us a bit more about your retail media journey at COTY and what you are doing now, especially in upper funnel, maybe?
Sure. So the retail media journey at COTY is now about, let's say, 5-6 years old from the time when we decided that this is not really just about trade marketing and it's not just about shelf visibility, that there's more to it, right? So of course this started as making sure that our products are visible on the digital shelf, that when the shoppers are there at the right place at the right time, our products are visible. But then we realized that there's more to this game, and it's all to do with the business of data. In the spirit of putting the right ad at the right time in front of the right shopper, why be limited to the retailer's website if you have the possibility to use the retailer's data in order to be able to be present across the open web, on other screens, and so on and so forth. This is extremely important for a group like COTY, which does not sell. We don't sell any of our products directly through D2C or through own shops. Our perfumes are mostly sold through retailer websites, online and offline. So we don't really have any first-party data. We don't know who buys our products, even though, of course, we develop products for clear personas and to reach different sections of the consumer society. So this was, of course, a data goldmine for us, the data that we were able to get with the retailers. And we started going into the open web. Beyond that now, for example, connected TV is a big focus for us. What is more interesting than an ad that's well-targeted? It's an ad that's well-targeted at the right time. So that's the focus these days, putting data at the center of any activity, not just being limited to the retailer's website, but anywhere. If we're able to put our ad there at the right time, that's a win.
Thank you, Manant. Christian, my friend, we're moving to you now because, first of all, I want to say we're extremely thankful that you came all the way from Germany for this event. I must admit that there are other German retailers in the room, and I can only hope that French retailers also take the Thalys to go to speak in Germany. Christian, tell us about REWE. Tell us, make us rêve. And what is REWE? What is your retail media offering? Can you zoom on your multi-partner program?
Sure, I can. So I start with the REWE group, and probably many of you do not know it because our presence in France is not so big, but actually we are the second largest retailer in Europe and also the second largest tourist operator in Europe. So our turnover last year exceeded 100 billion euros, which we are quite happy about. And so our flagship is REWE, which is the full-range supermarket in Germany. We have over 3,600, I think, nowadays, stores. And this also means that we have a very, very high customer penetration. So well over 30 million customers visit us every week. We did something very audacious 1.5 years ago. We were a long-time partner for the loyalty partner program Payback in Germany. But we have decided to launch our own program called REWE Bonus. Similar initiatives also with our discount format Penny and so on and so forth. And so what we did end of 2024 is we resetted our customer base from, I don't know, 14 million, something like that, to 0. This was audacious, and we saw that it really paid off. Because what did we see? We saw that it has risen very, very fast at the very beginning. Many of our A clients use the program and use this extensively. And also, when you are relaunching a program, you have to ask the customers again in terms of consent, which is great for us in terms of data sharing and everything else. And so therefore, the consent rates also to third-party sharing are fairly high, especially in comparison to all of the other legal legacy programs that you can encounter. So this is the REWE story, and obviously we build our retail media offering out of it. I have a little slide here as well. And you have to imagine that about 97% of our retail sales are in store. It's different to many other branches, fashion branch, whatever. So that means that we, of course, have to be present where our customers are present. And so therefore, we invested a lot in the past years in in-store digital signage. This is definitely our flagship. It's also by revenue, it's our flagship. But also on-site is very important for us. This is where we started. In terms of e-commerce, while the share in Germany of e-commerce is fairly small compared to other European or even American countries, it still means that we were the first mover, and it also means that we have over time built up a sizable ad portfolio there. So this is what we do as well. And in terms of offsite, which is another pillar of us, so far we have started very small using the e-commerce data, but this gave us really learning effects in many ways. And this is certainly one of our big bets for the years to come, that we can really try to leverage the loyalty data that we have in place, the great consent rates that we have in place to supercharge the offsite business.
Thank you, Kirsten. Super insightful. Alexis, we come to you now. You've had a bit more time to catch your breath, hopefully.
Thank you very much for that.
Can you introduce us to Unlimitail and the specificities of your retail media offer?
Yeah, sure. Unlimitail, in fact, is a subsidiary between Carrefour and Publicis. So first, you can ask you why we have done that. The first answer is that we have initiated our retail media business in Carrefour in France 7 years ago or something like this. Then we deployed it to other countries. And then we began to make a significant amount of money. And we said, okay, what's the next step? And in fact, the next step was to go outside the frontier of Carrefour. And to do this, you need some technology, because at some point, you can have the best expertise you can imagine, but if you don't have the technology to rely on, you're nowhere. So we needed this. And in fact, Epsilon, because in fact the point for us is with the Epsilon, has a technology called Citrus, and Citrus was a kind of SSP ad server for on-site advertising, a competitor from Criteo, for instance. And then we integrated them into the company, and then we had this engine to begin to meet with other retailers to try to build a network. Because at some point, if we see Europe compared to US, so if we consider that the market across countries is 115 or 18 soon billions dollars. You have 60, 65 in the US, 75, 80 in China, which everyone still forget. And then you have 15 here in Europe. And these 15 in Europe, you have roughly 13. Half of it in the UK, 1/3 in Germany, 10, 12% in France, 5 in Spain, and then nothing else. It means that the three main countries represent 85% of the market. The two first countries, 75% of the market. And in this market, Amazon represents 85, 90% of the market. So it means that all of us are too small to really play at scale and to be interested for brands to invest on. Because we are so small, then it's a nightmare to manage operation, it's cost inefficient, then we needed to do something to offer to brands an opportunity to leverage our inventory. And if you see the volume of inventory we can gather at European level with all these retailers, it's quite interesting. So we begin with food retailer, and we are lucky enough to work with REWE. So we try humbly to help on-site REWE, for instance, but so much other, as we represent now 35 retailers and we operate in 21 countries. So it's the largest retailer network today in Europe, and we plan to even accelerate on this. And the point for us is to operate the full funnel. So we do not stick with just on-site. On-site is one lever. Off-site is the second one, and the third one is indeed in-store. Because if I consider all my retailers, 98% to 70% of their business is still in-store. If we aggregate all the GMV or turnover from this retailer, it's quite significant. If you take Carrefour, 100 billion, REWE, 100 billion, it's already 200 billion. And I have 33 other retailers, which we are playing with. So
and please, Alexis, don't underestimate all the people coming here from all the countries in Europe, because added together, that makes also a lot.
That's precisely my point. This is exactly my point. If you aggregate all the others, I mean that with just two players, we are 200 billions, but with all the others, we are much more. That's really my point, so I do not underestimate you. And I'm happy to help you to power your retail media if needed.
Thank you, Alexis, so much. Manant, on your end, as a brand, how do you leverage everything that Christian and Alexis just shared with us? How do you work with retailers?
At scale. So retail media for us is really about precision at scale. A few examples of some spectacular stuff we're doing. I'll start with Amazon, because of course we're doing a lot of work with Amazon. Amazon is definitely embedded at the center of our media strategy today, not just as a retailer, but also with their upper funnel properties. So whether that is sponsoring the live sports games or sponsoring titles on Prime Video, all of this with Amazon Marketing Cloud in the center, connecting all the dots, allowing us sequential marketing, allowing us to really do a path to purchase analysis, and expanding beyond this in the future as well, now that we can buy Netflix off of Amazon DSP, now that we could buy even Disney off of Amazon DSP. So this is the kind of activations we're doing. We did a big activation last year to launch one of our new flagship products with Boss, which yielded absolutely fantastic results across Europe, with an increase in intent and brand recognition for the brand across all the markets that we activated, and we activated across all of Europe. Over and above this, we have multiple beauty retailers in Germany, for example, including a large German retailer that's also present in France, that's making their data, their shopper data, their segments directly available through leading DSPs like the Trade Desk. We're again able to activate at scale in order to reach the right shopper at the right time, no matter whether on their television, on their mobile, on their desktop, always with the right message. And then finally, there's more and more retailers who are also permitting collaborative ads across leading social media platforms. And these are all different kinds of activations we're doing at scale. But what really underscores all of this is really the infrastructure and the ethos that makes all of this possible. First one is obviously first-party data access and flexibility. We don't have any first-party data. So if a retailer allows us, of course, privacy-safe access and flexibility to use their data in the right way, this is a gold mine for us. Secondly, self-service. We're a mature advertiser with mature agencies working in a mature space. Retail media really has grown up. So managed service, that was great to start with, but self-service so that we know when to go, we know when to stop. And finally, it's about transparency and performance-led marketing. Media needs to have a fair value that we buy it at, and only media channels which have a proven fair value as far as the investment we are making and the return that we're receiving are the ones that we're actively looking to scale at this point.
Thank you, Manant, so much. Now moving on to the tech journey. If you remember the FT title, I guess 2 years ago when JP Morgan announced the launch of Chase Media Solutions in the US, the title was quite striking. It was all companies are now ad tech. So I want to get back to you, the retailers here in the room, with your billions of dollars of retail. That's good, but how did you become an ad tech? You know, can you tell us about your tech stack and your tech journey? How difficult is it for a retailer to become an ad tech? If you see this chart here, the #1 areas of strategic focus for retail media networks, that's probably from the US. This is building and optimizing ad tech stack before anything. So what's your reaction on that?
Interesting. I think before I start with edtech, you have to ask yourself what you are, right? And so for us, the first question was, what is the demand and what does the demand side want? Because we made a clear distinction that we are not after trade money. We do not want to impose a retail media tax on anyone, but we want to have them, buy us as freely as they would on the open market. That meant that we had to look into what is technology which is best of breed. That means that how are advertisers going to buy? Can I make it easy on them? What is their expectation in terms of measurement, and so on and so on. And many of our technological decisions were exactly based on this, that we said that we want to have modern ad servers on site, and interestingly, we decided for Citrus Ad. We want to have a modern logic also in store, so we've put up digital signage in 3,300 stores, and we have included this in an SSP, so you can book them programmatically. And nowadays it's more than 3,300. It's about, I think, 7,000 or 8,000 screens you can buy programmatically through us. And in terms of offsite, similarly, here we are a little bit behind because we needed to basically wait until we have the new loyalty program. But again, here we are using LiveRamp as a technology provider, using us as a safe haven, and now are exploring the first campaigns in offsite marketing at scale.
Yep. We are a kind of tech company. In fact, our job is to connect dots. So my point is not to come and meet with a retailer and say, okay, here exactly all the tech stack you should use. Oh, of course, this is my tech stack. So you will use my DSP, my SSP, my clean room, my screens, my DOH SSP. It doesn't work like this. Because most of the retailer we are talking to already work with some technology at some point. So my job is to be able to connect to it. So you don't have an SSP, I have one for you. You have an SSP, I can connect my tech directly on you. My job is to build the layer of intelligence on top of every other's technology. So I work with Nielsen, I work with LiveRamp, I work with The Trade Desk, I work with DV, I work with Flywheel, Packview, Sky, Snowflakes, everyone. My job is to work with everyone. With Mediaite, I work with absolutely everyone. And my job is to connect all of this platform all together and make sure that I manage the intelligence, and the intelligence is into the data. So my job is to process some data to determine what to buy at what price for the balance of the interest of the brand and the retailer. That's all.
Makes sense. So staying on the tech stack topic and zooming in a little bit specifically about clean rooms, you've started mentioning it a little bit, and we've heard also, Manant, your perspective on the AMC clean room. Maybe Alexis and Christian, can you elaborate a little bit more on your approach to clean rooms? How do you handle that? What's your approach to this? You had started, so if you want to just continue building on it.
Yeah, but do you mean my perspective on European clean room?
Yes, your approach to clean rooms, and you were saying you were connecting to a lot of them. But
In fact, there's two ways of considering it. We work with LiveRamp, we work with Media and Snowflakes. Our perspective is to try to go to let, and that's why we partner with Snowflake, to let the data stack where it stays, where it lives, so that we can operate it where it is, so that there's no trust things to discuss, no complex contract to manage. Okay, it's easy. You plug it. Most of our retailers already work with them, so it's easy. You work with LiveRamp, okay, that's also easy. We also have it. So in fact, my point is to be agnostic on this. I'm not here to put or push one technology to one of my partners, whether they're a retailer or brand. My job is to stick with what exists and bring value on top of it. That's what I do. And I let the choice to my client to determine what is their clean room. It's not my job to do this because for many reasons, one is better than the other for some specific use cases or just for legacy or whatever you want.
did you want to add to?
Yeah, sure. So we've started now using LiveRamp and using predominantly the safe haven functionality of LiveRamp, meaning that we use it as a privacy way, safe way to push our audience through and then be able to measure the closed loop effect in terms of sales. And we've just started this with Meta, and there are many other publishers thinkable how to connect and to form this closed loop, and I'm very excited for it. But I think what you are referring to in terms of clean room is the way to collaborate with data. And I have to say, so we as a retailer, we are very defensive, on giving out data, let alone transactional data, etc. So it's definitely a matter of education for us and for the stakeholders in my company. But when I see the atmosphere here and the idea, to go to long-term positive data collaboration partnerships, etc. So it's a good story also to tell back home in Cologne. To basically take away a little bit of the fear that there is someone messing around with our data, because I don't think that's the case.
Thank you so much, Christian. I'm afraid we're a bit out of time, but I want to ask you the last question of this panel, because it was called the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I'm afraid we have to conclude with the ugly. We all know the ugly is out there in retail media. We've all faced it. So I would like to have a 1-minute answer by each of you about what the ugly looks like and how you overcame it.
Measurement. I think it's all over the place. There's iOS, there's new metrics every day, new to brand. It's all in silos. I think someone spoke about how this works in silos, but what we want to know is how this works all together. Measurement is a big challenge, and data transparency, data access is what blocks us from doing that. Many retailers are not willing to share data. Many retailers are. For us, we treat retail media as a mature media channel, which means that it's evaluated across all of our other media investments within our MMM exercise. If it works well, it will drive more investment. If it does not work well, the investment is, of course, going to get cut. So that's what it comes down to, working together in order to make sure that we're sending the right signals, judging it as a mature media channel, and collaborating together to scale where it makes sense for the retailer and for us.
Alexis, my friend.
For me, it's a siloed organization, because what we all describe here is not the reality. The reality is that there's someone who buys on-site, there's someone who buys off-site, there's someone sometimes who do not know exactly what the difference between open web is on-site, off-site, and social off-site, and data and measurement is somewhere else. So In fact, what we describe is not the way it works. What we describe is the way we would like it works. And it's both for retailers, advertiser brands, or agencies. I put everyone in the same box. So to me, the ugly is this. So that's probably what we should try to avoid. And just to look back on your precedent last question about clean rooms, I hope that one day data will solve this siloed, because it has to spread, and by essence, retail media is transversal. So break the silo.
Nice one. Christian, I think you have the final word.
Yeah, I can. So I agree to both. Definitely, measurement was high on my list, but it's also the siloed organizations. Similarly, maybe to add to measurement, where I
are you talking about your organization or the client's organization, or the brands?
Maybe both, to be honest. No, and in terms of measurement, where I get sometimes frustrated is in terms of the funnel. The discussion or the missing discussion on where to place the campaign. Is it an awareness campaign? Is it somewhere in the middle? Is it a conversion campaign? And sometimes the advertisers want everything all at once, yeah, to name another film title here. And then they are super annoyed when there's a super high ROAS at the end. So I think here to be more precise, to use shrewdly the means that we have, which is brand lift studies, which is A/B testing, which is creative testing. And by the way, creatives account for sometimes more than 50% of the campaign success. No one ever talks about that. So there's much work to do here, and I would not place the work solely on us retailers.
Amazing. I think you deserve a huge round of applause. I welcome our next speaker. It's actually everything, everywhere, all at once, the future of supermarkets.